With this short video, I'm going to actually talk about my main pieces of work, but the main reason is so that you can see the colours and the size, because in the PowerPoint you can't really tell. So this is actually a large table here. I have put the sizes on the PowerPoint. Right, I began by designing the fox. I started off with just a face. It was going to just be a face profile, but as it developed, I decided to do a body. And once I finished doing the body, I decided that it would be nice to create some bluebells, because that's a theme throughout my work. Mainly it's the animals and the flowers that you find in a woodland. So if I look closely here at the fox face, you can see this whole piece of work is hand sewn. Even his eyes are hand sewn. They were quite difficult to achieve. I had to do a few, but they worked out pretty good. So, and there's a lot of running stitch, which is mainly because of my love of Sashiko stitch. Everything is just running stitches, really. I'm either densely or spaciously sewn. So if I move across now to the bluebells, where I sort of rolled up different fabrics and bound them with cotton, just to give it a sort of a 3D effect, because if you notice, they're sort of all actually coming off the wall hanging. I sewed out lots of detail onto the bluebells, just to give them a bit of character and define what they were. I also created some dandelions, which I sewed with a type of blanket stitch. Everything on this wall hanging, apart from this sort of foil, was actually dyed by myself in the studio before the lockdown. I'm really pleased with this piece of work. It's quite a celebration of lots of hand stitches. So if I go on to the next one, right, this is my hero design. If I go really high a minute. All right, I hope you could see that. This is also to make sure that the colours are coming out true to form. The hair, his face, all sort of, most of this was sewn on the sewing machine, but a lot of the definition was sewn by hand. Again, the eyes, everything is sewn by hand. And his body was just composed of lots of layers of applique in different segments all put together. The foxglove then is all dyed velvet of different green shades, and the foxgloves then are all sewn with French knots with colours varying right up to the top. I tried to get them to look as natural as possible. There's a lot of information about this again in the PowerPoints of how I made them and composed them. The rabbit looks a bit orange here actually, but he's not orange. He's a sort of a very sort of gold colour. More like this really, but you'd have to see it. Right. So that's my hero design that all the others are based on. This here is a piece that I made. I like the idea of you and Kate's thoughts that it would be good to use sort of old tea cloths and something that looked old, but I didn't have anything suitable here. But what I did have was lots of lace and linen dressing table centres that I collect. I don't know what for, I did. And I layered and sewed those all on together. And I placed on that then. I actually did the screen print in the studio before the lockdown. I painstakingly cut it off the blue background that was on it and placed it on here, because I wanted to make an element, something with an element of that sort of screen print with colours flowing. Right, this piece here, even though it's floral and those are poppies, it's called the poppy piece. I actually made this just so that I could get some really, really good images for my professional promotion, because I felt that thought it would make a really good design as the basis for all my stationery, business cards, etc., because it just gave an element of stitch there that was subtle. So this isn't included in my final 4 pieces. I've shown you the other 2. But nonetheless, I made it, and it's been great for designing stationery with. Right, this piece of work here, my badger, is the smallest piece. It's just larger than an A4. As you can see, I've sewn this by hand and with a machine. His face, the details of his face were actually hand sewn because it was too intricate for the, well, for the sewing machine really. So and that's black velvet, and then I made this little primrose bag. This was totally inspired by Karen Nicole, and I just felt that I wanted to just try really, and I'm really pleased with it. Right, the next piece here, if I just show you, these are just random samples here that I created so that I could perhaps make repeat patterns also for my professional promotion. But I didn't actually use these, they're samples only. I did actually create a Photoshop repeat with this. It's sort of like a floral piece that I was just going to use as a sort of a repeat. Again here, this is another sort of smaller patchwork piece for a repeat. This piece here was sewn with continuous black running stitch on the sewing machine, which is something I wanted to try. I didn't include it in any of my final pieces, but again, that would make a beautiful repeat pattern in Photoshop. And this last one here is just a floral design, quite bold, and I thought that would make a gorgeous repeat as well. But as I said, I didn't actually use these in the end, but I made them with an outlook. Right, so what I'm going to show now is the hare and the foxglove is the hero. Then coming off that was the fox with the bluebells and the badger. And this here is also a major piece. It's a light shade that I made. It's a small hare that has been machine and hand sewn. And also I decided to make poppy shapes on it, just to add a bit of interest, and I like it because they stand off the shade. I also used wool to create the stems for the poppies by twirling it around. So Emma's just going to turn it around now so you can see it all the way around. Right, okay Emma. If you keep going there, so you can see there's sort of poppies going all around the light shade, just to give it lots of nice angles really. Basically just to make all of it interesting. The hare is the focal point, and it's created in very much the same way as the main hero panel with the large hare. I used the same fabrics. It's basically like a small little baby hare really. And if I stand back now, you can see it and turn it round. It is quite large. Oops. And I really like this. I'm really pleased with this as well. So basically that's it. Those are the things that I made. I've got lots of other samples which I've put on PowerPoint. Thank you. Oh yes, sorry, Emma wanted me to mention as well, I didn't line it inside because I wanted the light to really shine through. It looks beautiful in the dark, and I've put photographs of that on PowerPoint as well. What did you want me to do?
this is all cut off.
Yeah, and with this I kind of recycled some of the fabric we used in the studio to just do our screen printing on, really. And the reason I picked it because when the light is on and it's dark, all of these beautiful sort of colours really come through, and it's quite a feature as well as what's on there. Obviously I picked this piece that was most suitable for this particular design. Okay, that's it. It's a wrap. Thank you.